Every project, no matter how well planned, faces some kind of uncertainty. Whether it's financial setbacks, operational challenges, environmental concerns, these risks can arise at any stage, which causes a hindrance and threatens the deadlines and the budgets of the project. However, something that separates a successful project from an unsuccessful one isn't how they react to the risks, but how they prepare for them or they plan for them. So project risk management is about systematically identifying, assessing, and mitigating these risks before they escalate. It ensures smoother execution, it prevents costs, and it increases the likelihood of the success of the project. To illustrate how important project risk management is, we will refer to two metro case projects, that is the Delhi Metro and the Namma Metro. These case studies are real-world examples of how risk management, or the lack of it, impacts a project. So let's begin. Launching a metro system in a densely populated city like Delhi comes with massive risks like disputes, financial restraints, land disputes, public resistance, unpredictable delays, so on and so forth. So the Delhi Metro succeeded not just because of its engineering excellence, but because of how it managed all of these risks. Some of the key ways in which it managed these risks are early stakeholder management and engagement, wherein they involved the communities and the government agencies very early on. So this prevented a lot of disputes with regards to land, legal challenges, so on and so forth. They had phased implementation and a decision tree analysis, wherein instead of rolling out the project all at once, they built it in stages, and they were identifying and mitigating the risks of each stage to make sure that the same thing would not happen in the next one. They also had financial stability, wherein they secured a loan from the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, or the JICA, covering 60% of the project costs, which ensured a steady financial flow and avoided funding gaps. And finally, they had a strong leadership and governance, wherein the people who were in charge of the project enforced strict accountability, efficiency, transparency, and ensured that phase 1 was completed 3 years before the schedule. And now let's move on to the Namma Metro. While the Delhi Metro demonstrated proactive risk management, the Namma Metro in Bangalore faced avoidable setbacks due to weak planning and delayed responses to risks. Some of the key issues that this project faced were severe delays and cost overruns, wherein they planned phase 1 to get completed in 2011, but it was only completed in 2017, with costs skyrocketing from 6,000 crores to more than 14,000 crores. There were land acquisition issues because there was delays in compensation, and the public engagement was also abysmal. So this led to lawsuits, protests, stalled construction, so on and so forth. There was frequent design changes as well because there was poor initial planning, and this resulted in last-minute modifications which increased costs and delayed the construction even more. There was also an environmental and social backlash because large-scale tree cuttings took place and there was no sustainable replantation plans. So this caused public opposition and regulatory hurdles, which further delayed the approvals. So the key takeaway from all of this is that the risks don't wait for the project to be ready to come up. A proactive risk management approach is crucial for preventing these issues before they spiral out of control. So this brings us to the fundamental question: how do different project management methodologies handle risk?
Risk is an inherent part of any business or project. But rather than avoiding it, the key lies in managing it strategically. According to the Project Management Institute, it's the art and science of identifying, analyzing, and responding to risks to ensure the best project outcomes. It's all about being proactive rather than reactive. Ultimately, these exercises aim to maximize positive outcomes, preserve and add value through smart decision making, and align risk strategies with business objectives. Effective risk management follows several approaches such as response planning, mitigation, deflection using insurance or contracts, and contingent planning, ensuring reserves are always maintained. Risks broadly fall into two categories: business risks that are inherent to operations and strategy, and insurable risks that can be transferred using insurance or contracts. Understanding these distinctions helps us to select the right risk management approach. Why does all of this matter? According to PMI's Pulse of the Profession, Organizations with strong risk management practices are significantly more likely to achieve their project goals, not to mention stakeholder trust and other benefits. Risk management isn't a one time event, it's an ongoing process. A structured approach ensures that all risks are dealt with effectively. The first step in this is identifying potential risks. This involves gathering insights from all relevant stakeholders and experts and prioritizing key threats. Once risks are identified, they must be analyzed based on likelihood and impact through either qualitative analysis, categorizing them as high, medium, or low risk, or quantitative analysis through use of statistical models and projection models to measure its potential impacts. Effective mitigation is dynamic. Organizations must develop response strategies that consider feasibility, cost, and time constraints while keeping alternative plans ready. Risk management doesn't stop at mitigation. Continuous monitoring ensures that plans stay relevant as new risks emerge.
So the slide I'm going to talk about is slide number 6, which is risk identification, the first line of defense. The first step in risk management is to identify potential risk before they become a problem. So these include sources of risk, internal risk as well as external risk. Internal risk is basically the risk which occurs within the organization, and external risk are most usually which occurs outside the organization. Internal risk includes financial mismanagement, operational inefficiency, whereas external risk include regulatory changes or public protest. Delhi Metro was able to overcome with these challenges, whereas Namma Metro was not able to overcome. Also, now we're going to talk about is how do we identify those risks using certain tools. The first tool is brainstorming. Brainstorming is basically using your creative ideas and putting through them in a single pile of box and using them. SWOT analysis is using strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats towards a project and executing it with proper diligence. The third one is historical data. Historical data is using past records and actually going through them and analyzing them in order to target our problems in needs and all those things. The fourth one is expert judgment. Expert judgment is you using expert analysis which are used by many various big corporates in order to overcome those challenges. So Delhi Metro was able to overcome those challenges with purity, with actual intelligence, using all these tools, whereas Namma Metro was not able to do so. Additional tools that we're going to talk about is environmental risk as well as social risk. Environmental risk is basically having a sense of culture around our project that we are working on and actually helping the environment in order to make it. Whereas social risk is basically having communities and public interest following them as well. So within risk identification, we now come to qualitative risk management. Qualitative risk management is basically prioritizing the risk. Not all risks equally dangerous. Qualitative risk analyzes, helps, and prioritizes them based on likelihood and impact. Within this, we come to risk metrics. Risk metrics is basically probability versus impact. Probability is identifying high risk areas that needs immediate attention. So this basically involves using probability to impact or check what is the impact is there on the project. So as Delhi Metro anticipated crowd control, whereas Namma Metro was not able to do so. The second thing we are going to talk about is risk categorization. Risk categorization is basically sorting risk into financial, operational, social, environmental risk. These are the two basic kind of risk concepts that we are talking about, which is risk metrics and risk categorization. Now we come to case studies which can be related to this risk categorization as well as risk metrics. So Delhi Metro was able to design their stations with efficient crowd control which prevented any kind of congestion, whereas Namma Metro was not able to do so and waited for operational failures before responding to this. So this basically means that prioritizing risk early allows for effective mitigation and can help you in the long run and, a smooth flow of network. While qualitative analysis ranks the risk, the quantitative analysis assigns the numbers to it. Yes, now we are talking about quantitative risk management tools. Quantitative risk management tools are certain set of tools which help the project to analyze the risk. First one we are going to talk about is sensitive analysis. Sensitive analysis basically tests how small changes affect the outcome. As Delhi Metro used it to adjust the construction timelines, the Namma Metro rigid planning led to the delays. The second one we're going to talk about is expected monetary value. Expected monetary value estimates financial consequence of the risk. Delhi Metro secured a funding buffers for unexpected costs, whereas Nawa Metro had repeated budget escalations. The third one in our booking is Monte Carlo simulation. Monte Carlo simulation runs multiple scenarios to predict the risk impact. So, for example, Delhi Metro anticipated cost variations, whereas Nawa Metro faced unexpected expenses. So, if we compare the case study with these real-time tools which help them to proceed in a particular direction, Delhi Metro during the phase 1 completed in 2006, 3 years ahead of schedule, whereas the Namma Metro completed its phase 1 in the year 2016, which was 6 years after the schedule. So, using data driven analysis helps prevent any kind of surprise and ensure a smooth execution.
The next step in the project risk management is the risk analysis. Let's talk about how risk prioritization and categorization is an essential step in risk management. Every project faces different types of risk. These risks can be classified into financial, operational, technical, strategic, and legal risk. But modern infrastructure projects like the metro systems have additional challenges, which is the social and the environmental risk. We prioritize risk based on two key factors, the first one being the likelihood and the second one being the impact. We can categorize risk accordingly, critical risk and minor risk. Comparing the Delhi Metro and the Namma Metro, we see that the Delhi Metro had a structured approach to prioritizing risk. On the other hand, the Namma Metro struggled to categorize and address risk efficiently, leading to operational challenges. Now let's analyze the comparative risk profiles of metro lines by looking at two key examples, Namma Metro and Delhi Metro. Starting with Namma Metro, it follows a reactive risk management approach, meaning risks are often addressed only after they arise rather than proactively mitigating them beforehand. It also faces challenges with financial and regulatory compliance, which can lead to operational inefficiencies and legal hurdles. Additionally, social unrest and environmental concerns are more pronounced due to delayed responses, making risk management even more challenging. On the other hand, the Delhi Metro presents a more proactive approach to risk management. It focuses on identifying in advance and implementing mitigation strategies before they become major issues. It also emphasizes effective stakeholder engagement, ensuring smooth coordination between the government, public, and private sector. Lastly, Delhi Metro has strong measures for environmental sustainability, reducing its ecological footprint while ensuring long-term operational efficiencies.
Making big decisions in projects, especially when risks are involved, can feel like walking through a maze. Decision tree analysis simplifies this by mapping out every possible path, helping teams weigh risks, rewards, and probabilities before making a move. It involves 5 simple steps: defining the key decision at hand, adding chance and decision nodes such as risks, uncertainties, and choices, laying out all possible outcomes to the very end, calculating tree values by analyzing the impact and feasibility of each path, and choosing the most strategic and risk balanced option. A great example of this is the Delhi Metro's project financing. Faced with funding decisions, they used a decision tree to compare two options of government funding, a familiar but risky choice, and soft loans and revenue generation, a more complex route with external funding dependency, but one that ensured financial sustainability and on time completion. Through analysis, the Delhi Metro secured a low-interest JICA loan, setting a stable financial foundation. In contrast, projects like Namma Metro, which lacked structured decision-making, faced repeated delays and cost overruns. When managing large infrastructure projects, risks are inevitable. But how teams respond to these risks can often mean the difference between success and costly setbacks. Let's explore some key strategies with real examples. First comes avoidance, which refers to changing plans to eliminate risks altogether. The Delhi Metro avoided bureaucratic delays by keeping political interference and Indian Railways out of the equation, whereas Bangalore Metro adjusted its routes to sidestep land disputes and environmental concerns. Mitigation focuses on reducing the impact or likelihood of risks. Herein, Delhi Metro ensured strong leadership, collaborated with Japanese experts, and engaged stakeholders to maintain transparency. Transfer refers to where risks are passed on to third parties, such as outsourcing technical expertise and construction work to specialists. And contingency planning talks about developing backup strategies, such as recovery schedules and phased openings to ensure that operations of the station and railway move despite any challenges.
Talking about the monitoring and control phase in the project risk management, which ensures risks are continuously tracked and managed throughout the project lifecycle. First, we have the risk registers. This is a critical document that tracks all identified risks, their impact, and the mitigation strategies in place. Risk assessments are conducted periodically to identify new risks and evaluate their impact on the project. Then we have the KPIs and the early warning signals. Finally, continuous improvement. This step focuses on learning from past risks and refining strategies for future projects. By analyzing what worked and what didn't, organizations can enhance their risk management approach over time. Moving on to the role of communication in risk management. Why is communication important in risk management? Because it ensures transparency, facilitates timely identification and mitigation of risk. It also helps in managing public perception and media relations. Public relations and media management. Open communication with media helped maintain public confidence even during crisis. Interagency collaboration. Utility reallocation and land acquisition challenges were addressed through structured communication with multiple agencies. Stakeholder coordination. Delhi Metro actively engaged with government agencies for smooth project execution. Lastly, crisis communication. Delhi Metro transparent approach in responding to incidents ensured credibility.
At this point, we've seen two contrasting examples of risk management, one that was proactive and structured, and the other that was reactive and disorganized. But why do some projects handle risk better than the others? The answer lies in the project management methodology. Traditionally, projects have followed a linear step-by-step approach, also known as the waterfall method. In this model, plans are fixed at the start and changes are very difficult to accommodate. Risks are often addressed late in the process, leading to cascading delays. And one-time large rollouts, which means the mistakes are discovered too late to be actually fixed. So this is exactly what we saw in the Namma Metro. The rigid planning left no room for them to adapt when the risks started to pop up, which caused delays, redesigns, financial setbacks, so on and so forth. Now the other method is known as the Agile project management method. This approach is designed to embrace uncertainty and change. It isn't just for software development like people usually think it is, but it is now increasingly being applied for large-scale infrastructure projects. In this project and approach, planning is flexible, teams are allowed to adjust their strategies as and when they see something coming up. Risks are continuously monitored and addressed in real time. There are phased rollouts so that lessons are learned from the earlier stages and made sure that doesn't happen in the future. So the Delhi Metro, whether consciously or not, operated in an agile mindset. By breaking the projects into phases, engaging stakeholders early, and adapting into emerging challenges, they ensured a smoother execution. But how exactly does agile risk management work? Agile risk management builds on agile principles that treats risk as a continuous process rather than just a one-time thing. Instead of waiting for the risks to spiral out of control, agile teams effectively manage them in real time. Now, there are 4 aspects for agile risk management. One is early identification of the risks, where they are flagged as soon as they are identified instead of letting them go out of control. There is iterative planning and adjustments, where strategies are continuously changed depending on the risk. There is stakeholder involvement throughout the project, which prevents delays that arise from legal, financial, or social challenges. And it also has faster responses to emerging risks, which allows quick mitigation before the risks spiral out of control. Now, if you look back at our case studies, you can see that if Namma Metro had adopted an agile risk management approach, many of its issues would not have happened. So this reinforces a crucial point. In today's complex projects, managing risks isn't just about having a strategy. It's about having a strategy that can evolve with the project.
After all those insightful risk management topics, we now come to the conclusion. At the end of the day, risk management is not only about eliminating the risk, it's about being prepared. Delhi Metro planned for risk early, securing finances, and was able to engage with the stakeholders, which ensured their success. Whereas Namma Metro ignored critical risk, leading to delays, cost overruns, as well as public backlash. So, the difference between success and failure is not only identifying the risk, it's about taking action as they occur. The choice is yours, the choice is simple: manage risk or let the risk manage you. Thank you.